it was still a very odd way to play, and I can only imagine what he has in store for a ZVT.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if the new format might actually change up his craziness, to be honest. Because he's got a few more games to sort of solidify his position in the bracket. It's not just the open qualifier, then it's the groups, then it's the playoff. Provided he makes the playoffs. So how many tricks can you use and still have success? So maybe he's reeled it in a little bit because of that. But this is the crazy man in question. Absolute ray of sunshine if you ever meet him in person. This is Meomaika.
In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is Seither.
And he is dropping that gas first thing in this game. Scouting going to be an important factor for him in this one. And Mio also sliding out with his own drone.
Okay, alright. I feel like there's been this weird trend on ladder. Now, like, my ladder, which granted is not that great, but like drone scouting has become like a thing. I don't think it should be, to be clear, but I don't know who started this trend, but people are doing it, and I think it's ultimately bad. But this is accompanying a pool first, so gotta figure this is kind of setting things up for the follow-up lings, right? Hoping to get a bit of the deny on the barracks, a bit of the deny on the command center, and then maybe even an extractor is stolen type thing. It'd be really annoying.
Yeah.
Or it just dies.
Oh my god, cutting it close.
Yeah.
Sick city. Just as he planned it. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of the drone scout, but it's one of those weird things that sort of popped in and out of fashion over time. It's definitely not a weird thing for Mio. I think it's something that he does semi-often. But now Seither's going to head across the map himself, and he should pass these lings provided Mio doesn't take a different route. It looks like he will get some advance warning of these friends.
Very nice. You not only get the advance warning of the lings, the Reaper stays at home, but you also have something to scout if the Roachmorn is following up quickly. So that's the really nice thing, and a really important thing when you're facing someone that you just know is going to be a little off-kilter. And I think the SCV scout for Terrans is also becoming more popular, but I do think it's more reasonable than any drone scout from a Zerg. But, I mean, maybe I'm just really biased, and someone out there's going to prove to me how good a drone scout is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still managed to sneak those links around the Reaper at the end of the day. So this Reaper's going to pop in and start picking away at some drones. It's just when the Queen's popping out, though, so Mio should be able to keep him away from doing too much damage. But even so, you know, there's that scout that you're talking about, just confirming, okay, no roach warrants being dropped or anything. And that gives him a bit of peace of mind. And his CC finishes just in time so that those lings aren't too much of a problem.
Yeah, I guess with the CC finishing, plus he had reactored Marines, he really wasn't that worried about the delay in the command center. Even if maybe they'd hit like a little bit sooner, there would have been a little bit of a delay. But that is something important to note, is that it is reactored Marines. So one of the nicer, newer builds to pop out here is the reactored Marines, and then occasionally on some maps you have like a tank drop you can do. Like Innovation's done and TY's done. I think Newer Pug's, Newer Pug's actually one of the ones with it, but it's not a tank drop. It's actually going to go into Banshees and maybe a defensive tank. I'm pretty sure you just go straight for a medevac with the build I'm talking about. But yeah, there is an abusive spot over near that third, and it would be cool to see it. It might just be a defensive opener that looks kind of like a... Well, actually, it can't look like a 2-1-1 because he saw the factory, so it just... Let's see how Meomaika actually reads into this.
Yep. He's just continuing drone, making a few more links. He's actually opting for the Carapace upgrade there. And continuing to poke in and out with these lings. He's trying to get an SCV or something here. He will finally get one. Maybe even two if he's lucky.
Yeah.
Nice defense with the rest of those SCVs. Looks like, oh my god, he wants it so bad, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, so that Banshee is headed over to Meomaika's house, see what he can find. There's no protection at the third base at the moment. There's a queen slowly marching down there. She might get there just in time. But he may be able to pick off a couple of drones.
Well, there's no spore crawler, so this is a problem.
True, yeah.
Meomaika might have been thinking of the push I was talking about, and as such, like, just kind of did away with the thought of a Banshee, because he really did not have any thought about a starport. These are such late spore crawlers.
Yeah. Bit of lost mining time here with the 2 drones that he's following. Otherwise, back to mining on that third base and does get a couple of kills. Led's almost finished as well, so that'll help him chase down those Banshees a little bit. But Meomaika is actually not a big queen guy. He's only got 3, and that's having remade the one that already died. You'll notice he doesn't really spread his creep too aggressively or anything either, because he's usually the aggressor. He just kind of goes like, YOLO, don't care. But now Seither is moving out with a decent force, and I don't feel like Meomaika is that ready for this, although if he can swing around with this group of lings and catch it before it sieges up, that might help, but he's just kind of let it go.
Yeah. Again, maybe he expected this push, but then the Banshees came and he was thrown off, so he hasn't been looking for it. But this is the spot I was referring to. It's pretty abusive with these tanks.
It looks like Mia's kind of trying to reposition to swoop in here, but this is still a pretty nice spot. You can get, he's well tucked in here, and those tanks are going to kill a lot of stuff before he actually runs out of units here. So now the Marines are gone, but he still can't quite reach that second tank at the back, and he will clean it up. So at the very least, there's that. But good number of lings to do so, and Seither has been trading efficiently so far.
Yeah, all the queen side, by the way. The Banshees won the war alongside a couple tank shots, and then the spore crawler wasn't moved forward. So they made things a lot more awkward alongside that bunker positioning against the lings. We're once again in a position where Meomaika, by being like lower on the drones, higher in the army, could have slapped an attack down and been like in actually good shape despite a low drone count. But he didn't really slap it down. He dealt with it, but not in a very good position. And Seither's macro, granted, it doesn't take any damage here, should just outshine Meomaika in every way.
Yeah, and Mio went ahead and pumped out a bunch of extra lings after that as well. Goes for the backstab, but Seither is so well defended at home, he really can't do anything with those. So now these Banshees is just chilling here. Mio's trying to get some Hydras out, and that will help, but with 2 Banshees, he can actually sort of pick them off here and there if they're not all together. But Caesar's got to be pretty happy with that. He's poking down to that 4th base now while he takes his own 3rd, and Mio is back at home. It's kind of rare. Usually he's at least running around with those lings, but he's taking the wind out of his sails a little bit here, I feel.
Yeah, he's denied the... Oh, good snag. Good grab on the Banshees. He was denied access to the natural, and then where there was an opportunity to maybe get a couple SCVs that were transferred prematurely, he just was not paying attention, not doing anything, dealing with the harassment his side of the map. Going back to your point about the lack of creep spread, it might be excusable in the other matchups, ZVZ and ZVP, right? But even then, like, usually at least connect your bases.
Yeah.
It's definitely not excusable in this matchup. Just in general, but I guess even on top of that, especially versus Bio. But we'll see how he works with it. I mean, I just can't see this working. Yeah. It's such a dramatic difference, Bane's off and on creep.
Yeah, he finds a way sometimes, but I feel like that's when he's sort of ruling the match with an iron fist. He's just throwing stuff all over the place. His opponent's pinned back, but in this situation, you already mentioned that spot near the 3rd that we saw come to fruition. There's a lot of ledges and stuff like that around this map. There's a lot of good spots you can tuck in and siege up an army. And actually, it's a pretty nice fumble, but he can get out of there with the medevacs at least. But yeah, it's really not going to help him in the long run. And Seither's looking good. I mean, he's headed into his 2-2. His army's looking pretty healthy. Hasn't had any trouble having his 3rd up. So, and that 4th CC's coming soon.
Yeah, it's already done. That's pretty darn fast. He's got a wall up, I guess, aware of any Zerg nowadays really needs to be pretty good at run bys, so he's going to deny that access to at least that. Also, maybe denying some Overlord positioning. The medevacs actually are kind of failing right now. There we go. So that turns a little bit awkward because they also can't really. There we go. I was going to say jump on top of the Marines, but he could get that one. Nope. Scans, sees the army still moving somewhat aggressively, but it's just not a very scary army. We're talking about no banelings. There may scans, it's also no lings. He is totally fine.
Yeah, I feel like Meomaika is often not a front-on engagement kind of guy either. Like, he's more likely to try and backstab you and pull back if you're attacking him and try and get some damage done that way. He'd much rather you bring the fight to him, and so he can set up those sort of big concaves, you know, come in a circle. But otherwise, he's kind of avoiding the main army a lot of the time. This is cool though, loading up some drops. That might actually be able to get him some points in those mineral lines. We'll see how he goes with that, because Seither doesn't have quite all the vision he needs around that airspace at the back. That part doesn't quite reach all the way, so if those overlords can sneak around right at the bottom, he might be able to find some damage.
Those drones from the earlier attack still over there.
Just in case.
Yeah, maybe they'll turn to a base later on. Scan reveals that there's still no hive. The infestation bit was a given, considering he was fungal. But I guess a hive could have been done already, I want to say. And actually, I want to see it. There we go. But yeah, going back to the drops, the sensor tower will not see this. It just really is a question. Well, actually, the timer works out really well. So this might be exactly what Meomaika needs.
Yeah, because this is a really nice spot to siege up for the Terran as well. It's hard to clean up. You're behind a couple of walls. So let's see how this goes. He's already headed over here with a couple of Liberators, sort of spotted it last minute. Unfortunately, this is a lot of Hydras, so one will fall fairly quickly. He's got a tank to siege up and a few more bio units rolling in. And at the same time, he's actually going for the army at the front. These tanks still in a good position, but there's actually not that much bio here. So he's just going to let the tanks soak those hits as the rest of the army comes up. These Hydras haven't actually done too much here. They will get cleaned up eventually with the reinforcing units. And Mio still looks for a way to attack into this army.
He is now vulnerable to just the bio. And Seither also knows it. Splits against the fungal, takes it out, and now the rest of the bio can come forward and deal with this. He has decent upgrades.
Oh my god.
But the amount of medevacs, the just pure Hydra, it's just not going to look very pretty, and it's really not. Seither now able to just go across the map, I think, even without his tank siege necessarily, because we still never saw any banelings. I mean, there's no baneling nests, so.
No, not a baneling fan today, and Seither with round 2 of his army is just going to march forward, doesn't even bother sieging up the rest of the tanks, because he knows he has got too much here, and GG comes out from Mio. Seither taking a convincing game number 1.
Yeah. I mean, once again, maybe a little... I can say he was passive because he did the tank push, right, on that third base, but I think he very much so took Meomaika seriously, and, like, you know, the anti-run buys, the early tank, not just does the push, but also helps with any early aggression. He SCV scouted, like, he just made sure he didn't die to anything kind of silly. And if he doesn't die to anything silly, then obviously he's going to do well, but even better than well, like, I feel like Meomaika, it's cool that he's kind of a weird player, but there are just some things that are a little like you can't actually argue against in StarCraft 2, you know? Like creep spread's good and banelings are good. Like, yeah. There's kind of two things you can't really argue against. And if he got any one of those, I feel like the awkwardness of his macro or the skill difference here wouldn't actually be as highlighted as it was with those last few battles.
Yeah, I must admit, like, as much as I love watching Meomaika and stuff, I think people have started to be able to figure his style out a little bit over time. He's not as scary as he once was, because when he first showed up, he got really deep in tournaments. He pulled upsets and stuff because everyone was like, what is he doing? Because he just does stuff and it works because no one can really read him. They don't know how to predict him. You never know what's going to happen. But I think, you know, like the game we just saw, a few players sort of figured out that the way to go is, just play it really safe, sort of let him burn himself out in a way, if he throws stuff at you, and then like, okay, that wave is done. Now I can, go ahead and do my thing. But yeah, he hasn't had as much success in the last couple of seasons with his wacky playstyle. So that's not to say he never wins. He certainly does. But I don't know. Maybe it's time to whip out that Nidus or something.
I feel like it is, like, to just, like, go 100% on all in, even if your opponent expects it, is those times where, like, someone like Bly actually gets the wins. Because people are like, you're not really going to go 100%, are you? And he does. And they underestimate him. But Meomaika, I really like how you put it. Like, he almost like he wears himself out. There isn't just, like, a lack of a plan B. There's actually, like, a lack of it's even worse than lack of a plan B. It's not that he gets, like, confused and starts to, like, just, make silly mistakes. It's that he actually doesn't have all of those foundations that we attribute to good StarCraft players. So it's not just, oh, I don't have a hive. It's, oh, I don't have creep spread. I don't have any banelings. I have nothing that actually supports the game here if I'm not the one being super aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see if that changes in this match. We're on King's Cove here for game number 2. And hopping on that Insano cam in the bottom right, he is Seither.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, he is Meomaika.
And just as a side note, I think originally Seither's name was Seither, as you say it. And then we butchered it as Seither for so long that it's just stuck. So I feel like I need to apologize at least once a year to Seither for like changing his name on him. Because I'm pretty sure he intended it to be Seither.
Really? Okay, so he wants it to be Seither.
Yeah.
Like, the weird thing is, right, and I think he's talked about this, that he does actually take inspiration from the Final Fantasy VIII character.
Right.
Which is like literally my favorite game. And you get into that problem of, like, any video game or, like, novel where you read how something is pronounced, but it's before, voice acting was included. So, you think that Titus is pronounced Titus, but it's actually Titus, and you're like, no, that's stupid. Like, I'm never going to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if that's actually what it's supposed to be. So, he's in this really weird spot where a lot of people played that game, I think, and they just all had their own version of the name.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't play that, so I had no idea. And oh my god, because I think I asked him one time, or I heard him say his own name. I think it might have been when we first did a live season and we had like videos of the players sort of talking about themselves a little bit, and he's like, "Hi, my name's Seither," and I was like, "What? Oh no, I've been calling him Seither for like 2 years."
Oh boy.
And I went up to him like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. Why don't you say anything?" He's like, "Oh, I don't care." He's so nice.
Oh, well, that's nice, yeah.
I feel like every now and then I have to just put a disclaimer and be like, "By the way, he's called this because I'm an idiot, not because he intended it."
Oops. Well, it's nice somebody's cool about it. It's actually a real shame. Like, I don't think maybe I've met him once, but you kind of touched on this at the start of the cast. Like, he'll qualify for things and then unfortunately not go. Not really sure as to reasons why, but I think he's only gone to like 1 or 2 overseas events, which for you guys is like everything.
Yeah.
And as such, I don't think I've actually met him. I don't know what he's like.
He's a real quiet guy, though. Like, even if you did meet him, good luck getting too many words out of him. He's very nice, but yeah, he's a quiet dude. But yeah, hopefully we see him at a few more international things, because I think it's all about the experience. Then you sort of get used to it, you lose the jitters, and you can actually perform to the standard that your peers are used to seeing you beat them with. But yeah, he had this weird thing for a while actually, where he just didn't show up to any events and no one knew what he looked like. He's evolved. He's definitely evolved.
Well, that's good. So we have Bayless on the way, which, I mean, could have been for, like, anti-Hellbats. It's, like, even a little bit late for that, though, I think. But with all of these Lings on the way, I'm thinking he's definitely thinking about doing a Baneling bus. Like, if you, ideally, you get the wraparound on the Hellions, and you hope they're not making any more, because they swapped off, and maybe they're not even building a tank. And then a Banley bus actually works this late, as weird as that sounds. But Seither is going to go Seither. Oh, God, no. I'm going to try, and it's going to be terrible.
Take your pick.
He is going for a tank. He's not just, like, being super greedy. And as long as he holds the main, I think he'll be fine, even if he were to lose, like, 20 SCVs. I just believe very strongly in his macro game.
Yeah. Well, let's see how this goes as he soon to be rolling in with a few, well, I should say waddling in because they don't have centrifugal hooks. Let's see how this goes. It's going to roll up. There's Helene's right at the front, but it's going to be hard to get kind of a clean line on those. The tank's actually going to take care of it in the beginning. He's going to lose a fair number of those before he even reaches the front door. Now, oh my god, these Helenes are just too good. ZombieGrub. This is really like pear-shaped. Oh, GG. Oh my goodness. Folks, that does it. Seither advances the top player of this group.
All right. Well, it's what we expected. And at least Meomaika did just like 100% commit to something. It just did not go well.
Yeah.
That's the game played. All right. That happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, GG. Cool to see a few different strategies from Meomaika there. Yeah. Had a shot at something else a little bit weird, another curveball. I think against Seither, he kind of has to do something strange because Seither is like a powerful player. He's like a top 5 seed for this season. He's usually like, sometimes he's seeded straight in because he's qualified and stuff. So, you know, I guess it's kind of how the group works out because he is, you know, strong seed, gets good place and gets a group that should be pretty doable for him. So let's have a look at how the bracket is progressing. Seither is sitting there in that grand final, and he's going to be waiting for the winner of Meomaika versus Blisk. So what we've done is put Blisk and Peppy. They've actually played off stream, and it looks like Blisk has taken that with a 2-0, which I don't know if I'm surprised by that. But I kind of expected Peppy to win, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But maybe Blisk's EVP is actually looking pretty solid if it's a more standard player. So well done to him. We're going to be seeing another match from him. It's a rematch against Meomaika. So can he actually close it out against Mio this time? Now that he's had a warm-up, that's going to be the big question. And then they'll pop someone else up to go up against Seither again. So